guys, welcome back to PerkyTomato. Today I am going to be reading chapter 4 out of the story Meet Kit, and in this giant book of compilations of Kit's The American Girl Kit story collection, and I'm going to be reading chapter 4 on this beautiful Friday night. If you're not watching this during the premiere, that's okay, but I'm just going to be reading chapter 4. Chapter 4 is called Mother's Brainstorm. I'll show you the pictures, like big pictures, don't worry. I'm not really showing my eyes or face, the rest of my face today. So don't worry if my lips move like this, like when I'm talking. It's just because I have weird facial muscles, so let's start. Chapter 4, Mother's Brainstorm. But Dad didn't get a job that day, or the day after that, or the day after that, though he certainly seemed to be trying. Every day he put on a good suit and rode the streetcar downtown. Every day he said he was going to have lunch with a friend or a business acquaintance. Every day Kit hoped he'd come home with good news of a new job. But every afternoon Dad came home tired and discouraged. All the bad news in the newspapers seemed to be about Kit's own life now. One afternoon, after a week had passed, Kit and Mother were on the back porch shelling peas when a huge black car pulled up on the driveway. "Oh no," sighed Mother. Kit asked, "Is it Uncle Hendrik?" Mother nodded. She took off her apron and handed the peas to Kit. "Quick," she said. "Take these into the kitchen, and Kit dear, while you're in there, pour us some iced tea and bring it to the terrace." Mother smoothed her hair back, adjusted her smile, and walked gracefully towards the car. Kit was glad to escape inside. Uncle Hendrik was her mother's uncle, and the oldest relative Mother had left. He was tall and gray, and he lived in a tall gray house near downtown Cincinnati. He always seemed to be in a bad mood, like Grandfather in the Heidi book before Heidi made him nice. "The last thing Uncle Hendrik needs is lemon," Kit thought as she put a slice in his glass. He's already a sourpuss." Kit put the iced tea on a tray and carried it to the terrace. Mother was sitting on a wicker chair, but Uncle Hendrik was pacing back and forth. When he saw Kit, he stopped. "Here it comes," thought Kit. Without even saying hello, Uncle Hendrik barked at Kit. "What's the capital of North Dakota?" "Bismarck," answered Kit. She was used to such questions from Uncle Hendrik. If he wasn't asking her about capitals, he was asking her multiplication facts. Worst of all were his word problems. "I have 2 bushels of Brussels sprouts. I'm selling for 5 cents a peck," he said. "How much do you pay me?" Kit put the tray on the table to gain some time. She could never keep bushels and pecks straight. "And who wants 2 bushels of Brussels sprouts anyway?" she thought. 50 cents, she guessed. "Wrong," said Uncle Hendrik. "You may go." Mother gave Kit a sympathetic look, but Kit felt sorrier for Mother than she did for herself. She went inside, but she stayed in the dining room where she could hear everything they said. "Margaret," Uncle Hendrik said, "didn't I tell you and Jack what a mistake it was to sink all your money into that car dealership? If you two had listened to me, you would not be in the fix that you are in now. And don't expect me to help you. I won't throw good money after that bad." "We'll be all right, Uncle," said Mother. "I'm sure Jack will find a job soon." "Humph," snorted Uncle Hendrik. "No, he will not. Not him. And not during these hard times." Kit realized that her fists were clenched. Ooh, she wanted to run out onto the terrace and punch Uncle Hendrik. She hated it when he spoke about Dad that way, but Mother didn't say anything. "And what will you do in the meantime?" Uncle Hendrik continued. "You should sell this house right away. Though who'd buy it? I can't imagine such foolish extravagance to buy it in the first place. You must owe the bank thousands of dollars. This is our home, Uncle," Kit heard Mother say. "We'll do whatever we can to keep it." "Indeed," said Uncle Hendrik. "And what might that be, if I may ask?" Mother didn't answer. "Just as I thought," said Uncle Hendrik smugly. "You haven't an idea. There's nothing you can do." "Well," said Mother, "we could take in boarders, paying guests." Kit felt as surprised as Uncle Hendrik sounded. "Boarders?" he gasped. "Yes," said Mother. "It's perfectly respectable. We'll take in the teachers or nurses from the hospital." gosh, thought Kit. Would you listen to Mother? But Uncle Hendrik had evidently heard enough. Well, Margaret, he said, all I can say is that if my sister, your dear mother, could see you now, it would break her heart. With that, Uncle Hendrik strode back to his car and drove away. Kit ventured out onto the terrace. Are we really going to take in boarders? She asked Mother. Mother smiled, and this time it was one of her real smiles that made Kit feel like smiling too. I surprised myself by saying that, said Mother. I'm afraid I just wanted to shock Uncle Hendrik. But I rather like the idea, Mother laughed. Yes, she said. I like the idea a lot. It was a brainstorm. What's Dad going to say? Asked Kit. That, said Mother, is a good question. Kit was not at all sure that she liked Mother's brainstorm. She wasn't crazy about the idea of strangers living in their houses, especially considering the way Sterling had turned out. Kit could tell that Dad didn't like the idea either. Mother had first presented the idea to him, in private of course, before she spoke about it at dinner that evening. Mrs. Howard was serving Sterling his dinner up in their room, so only the family was at the table. We've plenty of room, said Mother. We should put it to use. I don't think it's necessary, said Dad. I'm making every effort to find a job. Meanwhile, this'll be a way for us to earn some money, said Mother. Dad sighed. I hate the idea of you waiting on other people, especially in our own home. We'll all chip in, answered Mother, in a way that made it clear that the question of taking in boarders was settled. Kit wasn't surprised. There was never any way to stop Mother once she'd made up her mind. But where will the boarders stay? Asked Kit. Charlie can move to the sleeping porch, she said. And we can put someone in his room. It's okay with me, said Charlie with a shrug. Thank you, dear, said Mother. I'm also planning to find 2 school teachers and nurses to share the guest room. Kit perked up. Does that mean that Sterling and his mother will be leaving? She asked. That'd be one good thing about Mother's plan at least. They'll stay, said Mother. They'll be paying guests from now on. But where will they stay? Asked Kit. Mother looked at Kit and said calmly, Sterling and his mother will move into your room. Mine? Asked Kit in a shocked, squeaky voice. Yes, said Mother, we need them. They've got to stay if we want to make enough money to pay the mortgage every month. I figured it out. But Mother, exclaimed Kit, where will I sleep? I was thinking, said Mother briskly, that you could move up to the attic. There's plenty of room up there. The attic? Thought Kit indignantly. She was being exiled to the hot, stuffy attic so that Sniffle-Nose Sterling could move into her room with his hankies and his meals on trays and his Vicks Vapor Rub. Oh. In Kit's mind, she saw her headline again, and the letters were all 4 inches tall. It's not fair. But Kit, panted Ruthie, out of breath from climbing the stairs up to the attic, you don't even like your room that much. It was the next day. Kit and Ruthie were inspecting the attic. It smelled of mothballs, and it was gloomy because of the windows. They were so dusty that the sun couldn't shine through them. You told me your room is too pink, Ruthie said. Why are you so mad about moving out of it? Because it was mine, said Kit, knowing she sounded peevish. The fact that Ruthie was right, of course, made Kit just madder. That room belonged to me, always ever since I was a baby, and it just kills me to think that Sterling gets to have it. Why didn't he have to move up here? I guess because his mother is paying rent now, said Ruthie calmly. She looked around. It's not so bad up here, she said. It's like the attic that Sarah Crewe had to move into after she lost all her money. You know, in The Little Princess? Kit felt very impatient with Ruthie and saw her princesses this morning. Sarah Crewe's room was transformed by that Indian guy, Kit said crossly. Remember? He made it beautiful. He was practically magic about it. Your mother's practically magic about making things beautiful too, said Ruthie. She'll help you up here, right? Right, said Kit. But she was dead wrong. That afternoon, while she was helping Mother make the beds, Kit asked her how they were going to fix up the attic. Mother said, I don't have time to help you with right help you right now, dear. I'm far too busy getting the rooms ready for the boarders. Mother's arms were full of sheets for the roll-away cot, which was being moved into Kit's old room for Sterling to sleep on. After you help me, why don't you just poke up around there, she said. See what you can find. Mother spoke in such a distracted manner that Kit's feelings were hurt. Mother had been so particular about every detail in Kit's pink room, but she didn't seem to give a hoot about Kit's attic. Kit climbed slowly up the stairs to the attic. She stood in the middle of the room and looked around at the lumpy, dusty piles that surrounded her. In a far corner, she saw her old brown desk chair. She saw her old desk, too, hidden under a bumpy mattress and some boxes. Kit knelt to one of the boxes and looked inside. Now, if I were in a book, Kit thought, I'd find something wonderful in here. But the box had only junk in it, a broken camera, a pair of binoculars, and a compass that must have belonged to Dad in the war. A gooseneck lamp and an old telephone, the kind that looked like a daffodil. Old and useless, thought Kit. She took the compass out of the box and hung it around her neck. She sank down to the floor, overwhelmed by the sadness. When she'd been wishing for change so that she could have a dramatic headline, she'd never imagined this. Terrible changes, and so many, and so fast. Dad had lost his job, she had lost her room, and in a way, they were going to lose their house. But they'd still be living in it, but it wouldn't be the same when it was filled up with strangers. Nothing would ever be the same. Kit almost never cried. She bit her lip now and fought back her tears. Then suddenly, Sterling's head appeared at the top of the stairs. What are you doing out of bed? Kit asked, roughly brushing away her tear. Kit could tell that Sterling knew she had been crying. But all he said was, I'm bringing this stuff from your room. He came all the way up the stairs and handed Kit a box. She noticed that the photo of Ernie Lombardi, wrinkled but smooth flat, was on top. Thanks, said Kit. I brought you a tack, too, said Sterling. He gave Kit the tack and looked around. I guess you can put Ernie Lombardi up anywhere you want up here, can't you? He said in his weird husky voice. Then he disappeared down the stairs. After Sterling had left, Kit looked down at the photograph. She felt oddly cheered to see it. Old Sniffle-Nose Sterling is right, she thought. I guess I can put anything anywhere I want up here. Kit looked around the big, narrow attic. The ceiling was steeply pitched. There was regular windows at each end of the room and dormer windows that jutted out of the roof and made little pointy roofed alcoves. Each one about as wide as Kit was tall. The windows went almost all the way to the floor of the alcoves. Kit managed to open one of the, and also here's a photo. This is Sniffle-Nose, Sterling, Kit, and that's Sterling and Kit handing her a tack. That's the attic. Sorry. Kit managed to open one of the heavy windows. She knelt down, stuck her head out, and came face to face with a leafy tree branch. At that moment, Kit got a funny, excited feeling. Suddenly, she knew exactly what she wanted to do. Over the next few days, Kit was glad that no one seemed to care what she was up in the attic. When she wasn't helping Mother downstairs, she hauled buckets of soapy water up there and scrubbed the windows till they sparkled. She swept the floor and pushed the boxes far to one end of the room. She had decided to use only half the attic to live in and pile junk in the other half. Finally, cleaning was done, and the fun part began. In one alcove, Kit put her roll-top desk and her swivel chair. She put the gooseneck lamp on the desk along with the telephone, the camera, and her typewriter. That was her newspaper office alcove. In another alcove, Kit tacked up her photo of Ernie Lombardi on a nail. She hung her catcher's mitt and the old binoculars. She figured she might need the binoculars if she ever went to Reds games. That was her baseball alcove. In the third alcove, Kit made bookshelves out of boards and arranged all her books on them. She found a huge chair that was losing its stuffing, and she shoved it into the alcove and softened it with a pillow. That was her reading alcove. The last alcove was Kit's favorite. She put the lumpy mattress of an old bed frame and pushed the bed into the alcove with a pillow near the window. She surrounded the bed with some of Mother's potted plants. That was her treehouse alcove. The very first night Kit slept in her treehouse alcove, Mother came up to tuck her in. She sat on the edge of Kit's bed and looked around the attic. Kit watched Mother's face carefully. She knew the attic was a far cry from Mother's idea of what a girl's room should look like. "Well," said Mother at last, "a place for every interest and every interest in its place. I can see that you've worked hard to make this your attic your room. I'm proud of you, Kit." "Thanks," said Kit. "I'm sorry I haven't had time to help you," said Mother. "I'm afraid I've left you all on your own." "That's okay," said Kit. Mother kissed Kit's forehead. Then she picked up Kit's book. "Still reading Robin Hood?" she asked. "Yep," said Kit. "Robin Hood gave me the idea to make a tree house alcove to sleep in." Kit also had plans for a swinging bridge to connect the window ledge to the tree just outside the window, but she didn't tell Mother. It was going to be a it was going to be a secret escape like Robin Hood had. "Good old Robin Hood," said Mother, "robbing the rich to give the poor." Kit propped herself up on her elbows and looked at Mother. "Too bad there isn't any Robin Hood today," she said. "If rich people had to give some of their money to the poor, it would make the depression better." "It would help," said Mother, "but I don't think it would help end the depression." "What will?" asked Kit. "I don't know," said Kit. "Lots of things, I suppose. People will have to work hard. Use what they have, face challenges, stay hopeful." She looked around at Kit's attic and smiled. "I guess they'll have to do sort of what you've done up here in your attic. They'll have to make changes and realize that changes can be good." Then she kissed Kit on the forehead again. "Good night, dear," she said. "Don't read too late." "I won't," said Kit. "Good night." After Mother went downstairs, Kit flipped over onto her stomach and looked at the open window. She could hear the leaves rustling outside and see the stars peeking through the branches. Changes can be good, she thought. That sounds like a headline to me. And that is it. And the next one is called... Oh, that's the end of... Guys, this is the end of Meet Kit. And now the next story is Kit Learns a Lesson and a school story. So that's cool. That's basically, yeah. So, yeah, my dudes. So we're going to be starting a new story next week. Peace out, peeps. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, subscribe, comment down. Comment down below because I love talking to you guys. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Enjoy the video, watch my hair. Subscribe and like the video, and most of all, share the channel. I'm eating chips, by the way.